Howdy, it's Jim Arado, and we are at the Visitor Center at Shiloh National Military Park. It's kind of between Nashville and Memphis, Tennessee, two great towns. Huge fan of Nashville, have been for years. But we realized not too long ago that Shiloh is the closest national park unit, I guess you would say, that we had not visited yet. Still 5+ hours away from us, but yeah, it's we really wanted to get down here and spend some quality time at Shiloh. And it's also one of the most significant battles of the Civil War that was fought here. Yeah, so anyway, we went down there and ended up spending a couple of days, which for me was not nearly long enough. I'll get into that some later. But yeah, right now we are just going through the museum at the national park, and this is a nice kind of smaller museum. I went through it once and videotaped, and I kind of went through it once and took my time. But yeah, it's a nice small museum here at the visitor center, and then they also have maps that offer a driving tour of the actual battlefield, which is pretty cool. What we ended up doing though is we hired local battlefield guide Larry DeBerry to give us a tour of the battlefield, and that was really exciting, to be honest. Larry has grown up in the area. His family is from the area. Generations of his family, literally going back to the battle, have lived in this area. I doubt there's another living person with more of a connection to Shiloh battlefield than Larry DeBerry. And anyway, we hired him for a 3-hour tour. It was a few bucks over $100 for that, and he gave us way more than 3 hours worth of a battlefield tour. I don't want to get into that because I'm not sure what all he usually gives, but I think if you're an enthusiastic audience, you are gonna definitely get your money's worth plus some out of a battlefield tour with Larry DeBerry. In fact, I filmed that entire battlefield tour, and I'll probably put just a few. I'll put a little bit of that up later. I definitely don't want to. I don't want to use his actual battlefield tour because it's something special, and that's something that he does professionally, but I might just put 10 or 15 minutes of that up with my own commentary. But we really enjoyed doing the battlefield tour with Larry DeBerry, and I just wanted to mention that. But yeah, we stopped here at the visitor center. We went through the museum, and you can see what's going on at the museum here. They do have some nice relics. Larry DeBerry, if you look up Shiloh Tours, he actually has his own little museum, which had just a ton of relics in it, and I'll put up a video of that too. But if you're going to be in Shiloh, I would definitely recommend not just the National Park Visitor Center, but trying to go and see Larry DeBerry's museum. But yeah, I do love looking at relics from the battles. Those are just great. There is a bookstore right next door to the visitor center at here at Shiloh. The bookstore, I enjoyed going in there. I always love picking out some books. I get my patches, postcards, pins. I like little knickknacks from the national parks. And one thing I noticed at the bookshop here at Shiloh is they had the blue and gray issue of Shiloh. And actually, I think they had kind of a reprint of the previous 2 issues on Shiloh. If you're interested in the Civil War, there was a great magazine that's now defunct, Blue and Gray magazine. Every issue, they would pretty much cover a specific battle of the Civil War, give you all the details about it, and then they would give kind of a stop-by-stop driving tour of that battlefield if you go and visit. Every single issue, to me, is better than any book available on each of those battles. It was a great, great magazine, and it's a shame that it's not around anymore. In fact, I have overpaid for some back issues on eBay because I like this magazine so much. But at Shiloh, they do sell basically a reprint of the blue and gray issues that covered Shiloh. And it was probably $7 or $8, maybe. I can't remember, but I was glad to see that there. I still had my old issue. Just glad to see that. Definitely something to pick up if you're going to be in the area and you don't already have that. And in fact, between the Shiloh Visitor Center and then the National Park Visitor Center in Corinth, Mississippi, they had a few extra issues. They had a few other, I think, reprinted or back issues of Blue and Gray magazine, and I picked that up. I think that's great that they had those. Just real quick, I wanted to just put up this short video going through the museum, and again, I mean, you can go through the museum here fairly quickly, but if you're not familiar with the Battle of Shiloh, which happened in 1862. This was pretty much like the first all-out, crazy, bloody, massive battle of the Civil War. And I also read Blaze of Glory, a novelization about the Battle of Shiloh that's really well done. And, at the end of that book, the author really paints this picture that both armies are kind of like, well, that was it. That was the battle. That was the Civil War. This thing has to be over with now. And they'd seen so much blood and death at this battle. They really thought that's it, the war's over. And they were obviously very wrong. In fact, there would be other battles on the same scale before the whole war was over. And depending on which sources you look at, and I read up quite a bit on Shiloh before we went, this was, and I mean, I guess you could say this about any battle, but this was a battle where mistakes were made on both sides. And if, the generals and the commanders would have really tried to, if they would have been aware of what was going on, either side really could have annihilated the other. There were some major missed opportunities for both the North and the South. And you had probably the greatest duo of the Civil War, Sherman and Grant, for the Union. And you had Beauregard sort of taken over everything for the South after the death that occurs at the Battle of Albert Sidney Johnston. And Johnston was really considered, the golden boy for the South, a brilliant leader who, if he could have made it a little longer, things might have ended differently with the Civil War. However, Grant early on doesn't really prepare for an attack by the South as he's marching down towards Corinth to attack the South. And he and Sherman and the Union get very, very relaxed in what they're doing, which creates a great opportunity for the South to come up and just to attack the heck out of them. The South, who they're hungry and they're worn out and they're exhausted, it's been a heck of a march, they end up looting pretty much as soon as they run the Union out of their camps. And it just kind of falls apart from there. In fact, it falls apart before that even happens. But I'll probably talk a little bit more about that when I put up a video of our actual battlefield tour. But it was just an incredible battle with some crazy stuff happening. And yeah, both sides missed opportunities. And you have definitely Grant and Sherman who learned some stuff and kind of changed their tactics quickly to save the day. And of course, they will go on to bigger and brighter things later on. Anyway, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed just looking around the museum with me, and I'll put up some more videos about Shiloh shortly.